anxious to learn. That's one important reason for parents to be available for their children. When your child comes to you at what you might deem as an inopportune time and asking questions, it's not a nuisance. Go away, I'm busy. No, it's an opportunity. Be ready for that opportunity and take advantage of it. It's also very important to start teaching our children early in their lives. Scientists speak of a natural phenomenon called imprinting, which occurs in animals and birds. Shortly after birth, most baby animals or birds become attached or imprinted to the first creature they see moving near them. Now, usually that's the mother, but it can be something else. It can be a human being. It could even be something pulled on a string. This imprinting takes place in the first few moments after birth. And after that, the opportunity is gone forever. Well, you already see the application, don't you? In a similar way, if we do not start teaching our children as soon as possible in those formative years, we've all heard that phrase, haven't we? The formative years. That opportunity can be lost forever. Our children will remember some of the facts that we teach them, but what they will remember most is our attitude. So let's do all that we can to impress upon them this thought. We do what we do because of who we are, and we are what we are because of what we believe. And brothers and sisters, you're in charge of what your children come to believe. Now, after teaching divine precepts to the children of Israel, Moses said, "And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. And you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates." In verses 8 and 9. As time went by, the Jews devised little boxes that were called phylacteries. These were a kind of good luck charm used in certain ceremonies. They would put one box on the hand, wrap bindings around it, so when the arm was bent, the box would be next to the heart. They also put a box on the forehead. The bindings on these boxes were tied so that they formed Hebrew letters. Then they put boxes on the doorpost of their houses. Many Orthodox Jews still do this even today. And tucked inside the box is a tiny piece of paper with the words from Deuteronomy 6, or it could be even other passages, written in Hebrew. The pious Jew touches the box. That box is called the mezuzah, M-E-Z-U-Z-A-H, each time he passes it. He may kiss his fingers and then recite Psalm 121 verse 8 in the Hebrew language. The Lord will guard your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forever. But is that what God had in mind? Certainly there's nothing wrong with carrying a piece of paper with scriptures on them. Having such reminders in your home. Some men carry 3x5 cards with passages that they think will help them get through the day. I've heard of women who prop portions of the Bible on the window, maybe above the sink or somewhere where it's very visible. Stick it to the refrigerator door, the Bible thought of the day. All of that's good. However, I doubt that in Deuteronomy 6 verses 8 and 9, the Lord was instructing the Israelites to make little boxes and stick them everywhere. Jesus later ridiculed such literalism in Matthew 23 and verse 5. Speaking to the Pharisees, or about the Pharisees, he said, "But they do all their deeds to be noticed by men. For they broaden their phylacteries, and they lengthen the tassels of their garments." Apparently, the Pharisees were bragging, our boxes are bigger than your boxes, and our leather bindings are broader, so that must mean I'm more religious than you. Rather, what God was saying in verses 8 and 9, that the divine truths being discussed should become part of our very being. Yes, we should bind them on our hands, so that every time the hand acts, it acts as God directs. We should bind them on the foreheads, so that every time we think as God would want us to. We should bind them on our doorpost, so that the principles of God will be in our home. We teach every day, whether we realize it or not, by what we do, by what we say, and by what we are. And we must focus on that every day. I want to close, and I know our time is maybe a little past up. I got 10:17, but give me just another couple of minutes. Not only are our children influenced by our lives, but that influence will live on, and live on for good or ill. A sobering truth is found back in Exodus chapter 20 that we read earlier, particularly verses 4 through 6. After stressing to the people that they were not to make, they were not to worship, they were not to serve an idol, the Lord said that he would visit the iniquity of the fathers on the children, on the third and the fourth generations of those who hate me. Now, I'm not saying I can stand here and interpretate that exactly for you, but maybe God is saying, because that is how, when he says that, he's thinking about that's how long our influence lasts, the third and the fourth generation. Numerous studies have shown this to be so, but long before sociologists discovered that fact, the Bible taught that fact. For example, on several occasions, Abraham lied to save his life. Genesis 12, verses 10 through 13, Genesis 20, verses 1 through 5. Sarah, don't tell them you're my wife, tell them you're my sister. Later, his son Isaac told almost exactly the same lie in Genesis 26, verses 6 through 11. Among Abraham's grandchildren, the third generation, we have Jacob. Jacob is known as the deceiver, as the tricky one. Genesis 27, verses 1 through 19. And then when Jacob was old, guess what his sons, that fourth generation, did? They lied to their father and deceived him about what they had done to their brother Joseph. Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9 teaches that if we want our children to follow the way of God, we must believe it. We must teach it, and we must live it. We've tried to stress the need for parents to live consistent lives, genuine, authentic Christian lives. Someone has said that the oil of parental example helps to remove much of the friction of parental instruction. I cannot imagine a greater challenge than that of teaching our children to be blameless and innocent, children of God without blemish, in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world. Philippians chapter 2 and verse 15. God bless you in your efforts to be the parent that God would have you to be.